Our speaker number 2 today is Toastmaster Charles Huckabee. Charles is a financial advisor and lives here in Winter Park. Charles has been an advisor for 32 years, and he is giving an out-of-manual speech today, which will assault your senses. Yes. It won't be vulgar, but it will assault your senses and leave you with a feeling of, what just happened? The title of his speech is The Spirits Are Restless. Please welcome Toastmaster Charles Huckabee.
Good morning, Toastmasters. All right. Good morning. I will start my speech by referring to one of the financial rags, Wall Street Journal, and you say, look at the headlines. Trump plans new tariffs on China. Say it ain't so. Banks cloud practice face Fed scrutiny. Oh my gosh. Pandemonium. FTC reviews Facebook acquisition practices. But the headline everybody misses is right here. Middle class debt swamps families. So, in that headline, there's a spirit. And of that spirit, there are many that are starting to raise their head right now, and nobody's paying attention to them. So, you say, what are the indicators? What do the tea leaves say? Well, all you have to do is look at the world as one big picture. So, look at what's happening in Europe, look what's happening in the United States, look what's happening in Asia. Where's the money going? Where's it coming from? Who's doing what? Well, in the financial system globally, there's the IMF and there's the World Bank. The IMF is European, the World Bank is American. Then every country's got their central bankers who control our interest rates and all this kind of stuff. Well, I'm not to get into the weeds and a rabbit trail about all this international banking stuff, but I'm always looking for the mushroom farm where there's no light. And where is that mushroom farm, we ask ourselves today? Well, just like in 2008 when all the banks collapsed, currency's worth zero, because banks were not lending money to each other overnight. So that means ATM machines no longer gave you money. That lasted for 48 hours. Well, leading up to that, what were central bankers doing and what were the politicians doing and who was going and being put into place and who was taking what job? Well, we have the same thing going on right now. Where is it? Well, look at Europe. Christine Lagarde, head of the IMF, she's been there for years, is now took the job at the central bank of the EU. Why, you ask? She was happy being queen of the world at the IMF. Well, there's a reason. Then you've got Fed Powell here in the United States lowering rates. Just lowered rates yesterday for the first time in 8 years. Well, what does that mean? Here's what it means. It means things are not getting better. Although Trump might say the economy's doing great, unemployment's down at its lowest in 50 years, and all this other pablum. And not to be vulgar, but there is a butterfinger in the swimming pool. Maybe the punch bowl. So everybody's standing around with an empty cup, looking at the punch bowl, and not saying anything. The party's rather quiet. Well, why is this important? Well, Christine Lagarde is head of the central bank for one reason and one reason only. It's just like in 2006 when Bush asked Hank Paulson, who was a partner at Goldman Sachs, to come in and be the Treasury Secretary at the Fed. Why? Because he was well-connected globally. Like with Christine, she's well-connected globally. Why is that important? Well, because they're going to need lots of money from everybody pretty soon. That's my prediction. Why? Well, there's one thing, and this is the butterfinger, it's Deutsche Bank. Deutsche Bank is the largest bank in Europe. Its stock's gone from 140 down to 7. And why is that a problem? Well, in Europe are in very poor shape. So I won't even get into the structure of the EU, but it's a disaster. But here's the problem. Deutsche Bank, this, Brexit. In the euro, there are 3 bill payers: Germany, France, and Britain. They get the bill at the end of the day when somebody has a problem. Well, they're making it about all this other stuff, but it really is, at the end of the day, who gets the bill when the tab comes due, and Britain doesn't want any part of it, because Britain can't afford it. And Germany and France on their own really can't afford it either. So, what does this all mean for us? Well, to kind of put things in perspective, Deutsche Bank is a $1 trillion bank. They've got actually cash on hand of $28 billion, which is what, 2%? The average $1 trillion bank around the world has got $200 billion in cash. But that's not the problem. The problem is Brexit and all this other stuff that's what everybody's focusing on. Yes or no? In or out? And, unemployment and whatever the topic du jour. But this is the underlying theme, I think, in my opinion, which could be very challenging for the globe, is that Deutsche Bank went flat in 2008 and nothing was done to it. They didn't help it. We Fed gave it $400 billion, which was nothing. That was a dark hole. Well, here's what is the real problem. Is Deutsche Bank has got a $43 trillion, with a T, derivatives portfolio, which they own, and there's counterparty risk, and counterparties are you and I, and our banks, Citigroup, Bank of America, everybody around the world. That's counterparty risk. When bankers start using words like notional value, you watch out. They're using notional value because, well, what's it worth? Well, it's a notional value, which means we don't know, and we don't know until everything hits the fan and we have to figure it out later. Well, later is now. So I'm just saying, if you're an investor and you're gloating about your house value being up and your 401k being up and all this other stuff, and if you're over 50 and you're over 50% of the stock market, change it now, because when this derivatives portfolio starts having to be unwound, it'll take down many players. The dominoes begin to fall. It happens so quick. There's no reaction. Our stock market's at 27,000 or 26,000. 5,000 of that is leverage. That'll come out very quickly. Very quickly. 24 hours. One day. So, just saying. Sorry, the motion sickness bags aren't available, but just take heed. Thank you.